I am Anthony Jones, returning citizen, core member of Chance for Life, former spokesperson of Crime Stoppers of Michigan. Currently, I am a chaplain with St. Mary's Mercy of Livonia, better known as Trinity Health, and host of the Chance for Life podcast.
I'm Andrea Isom, journalist, former TV news reporter, host, and national correspondent. I'm a friend and supporter of Chance for Life and have proudly been telling its story for more than 15 years, along with my husband and business partner, Joe Harris. And I am the co-host and producer of the Chance for Life podcast.
I'm so glad you're here, Michael.
Yes, me too. Me too.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have fun.
Yes.
We're going to have fun and we're going to get deep.
Yes,
I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so we're getting reacquainted. I haven't seen you in a while, and you haven't seen
And
each
I
other
haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a
I think
long
since
time.
the fundraiser, I haven't seen you.
Yeah, the fundraiser.
That's
That's
the
last
time
night.
I saw you. Right,
It was
right.
2 years ago.
It's been a couple of years. I think you're
about
right.
2 years ago.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But, you know, hey, you still looking just like you used to look. You
Hey.
know what I'm saying? Like
Sharp.
you're taking care of your business.
That's
right?
it, man. Time
what
taught us the best, man.
Man, tell
Dress
me
to
about
impress. That's it.
That's right. That's right.
Line up tight and everything.
Yeah.
I had to throw the quick straight razor to it before I left.
Tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's all right. That's all right. Some of those skills from within, you know,
Yeah,
they still work, right?
Definitely still work. I just still cut my own hair to this day.
Do you really?
Still to this
Oh,
day.
man.
Ball fade my own hair to
Oh,
this
man,
day.
you made me think about the last time I cut my hair.
Yeah.
I got to do the back, and I saw this spot that didn't have no hair. I said, let's take the guard off and just go ahead.
Let's go for it.
Nobody else will ever see this, you know.
Just been bald ever
Been
since.
rolling like this ever since.
Oops.
It don't even matter. So the beehive had to go. It was.
Yeah.
I can say that it was looking pretty good now because nobody knows.
It looks great. I'm not glad that happened, but the outcome is bravo.
Yeah, you
yeah.
blend right in.
Yes.
Somebody told me that bald heads for people with perfect heads. Everybody else has hair.
Right, yeah. You just get gray hair like me when you got the messed up head.
Do you remember the last time you cut your hair in prison?
I think it was like the night before I came home. I think it was the last night I cut my hair and I messed up.
Oh.
So I came home. It was like I had like a bald head, but it was like a bald fade. And I got home, I was in the mirror and I was so mad because then I'm looking at pictures of me and the wife and stuff. When I first got home, I'm like, man, that haircut is terrible. Hairline was pushed back. I'm like, then I'm looking at pictures like a few days later when the willow peak grown back in and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm looking bougie.
Well,
But yeah,
nobody knows.
since I've been home though, I was, just kept working with it. And, when I got slower and with work and stuff like that, I had a buddy own a barbershop. So he'd let me go in there and I'd work cutting clients' hairs and,
Oh, wow.
on my days off or on weekends.
Yeah.
And, like, man, come on, I always got a chair open for you, and
Keep your skills together.
just kept my
right?
skills. So now I cut my son's hair, I cut my father-in-law's hair, my brother-in-law, and I got certain clients that still call me, and I don't do it often no more, but
Right.
they still call me, hey, I need a cut. Come on.
Then you learned that on the inside.
Yeah.
Or you perfected it on the
I
inside.
perfected on the inside.
Yeah,
I started it when I was probably 13, 14. Like I was young and I was hustling. I'm like, man, I'm tired of spending $15, $20, $30. I'm young and I'm, 14, 15 living on the streets for the most part. And every dollar to me was important. But, now I think about it, it really wasn't. Because I was only getting high or running the streets with some girls or something.
Yeah,
It
it was
really wasn't
what
too
was
much.
important to you
At
at the
the
time.
At the time, it was, because
Yeah.
I was young, but looking back at it, it started something that led to something really good now. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, we never know what God's doing with us, man. We're so rebellious with change, you know what I
Man.
mean? And the things that we feel like we have to do, we do it, with a disgruntled attitude, and then we turn around, and it's the best thing that happened to us because it's a skill,
That's
you
it.
know, not a what can you say, a chore. It's a skill,
Right.
you know, like running my mouth. I'm sitting here.
That's it.
Skill.
My mom used to tell me, "You talk too much, boy. You always got something to say about everything." Well, I was working on my skills.
Yeah.
Or you always want to be a center of attention. No, just trying to get a message across. That's it.
Yeah.
So I heard you say, 13, 14, you were living on the streets?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm still living with dad or still living with mom, but I was more in the streets.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
it was the gangs, the drugs, the doing whatever for the most part. And then, you know, 15, 16 hit, and it was, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what were you doing?
So, you know, I was gangbanging. You know, I started gangbanging when I was probably 11 for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was when I really first started getting into them. It was more searching for that love and identity.
There you go.
You know, because I was missing that. You know, my dad, he was there. My mom, she was into the drugs and partying, but did what she, you know, hands down to my mom, she was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
But, you know, she lived a life that she was dealt, and she did what she can do with it. My dad the same way, but both of them taught me how to get it out the mud.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I got it out of the mud the best way I knew how. So growing up, it was the gangs, the drugs, the ideology of trying to be the next American gangster.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And the false pretense of really what it was. And, you know, and growing up, it was a dog-eat-dog world for me. You know, I was stabbed by my mom's boyfriend. I was beat by him, you know what I'm saying, just for no reason, just because she wasn't home and running the streets. You know, I got stabbed when I was 9 years old by her boyfriend when he came in high on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just to think back on all those incidents of growing up and the abuse of, you know, it's crazy to say this, but, you know, babysitter molested me when I was a kid, you know what I'm saying, when I was 5.
Yeah.
It's crazy opening up publicly about that. It's the first time I've ever said that openly.
Really? Why
like
do you think
that.
you did? Because you don't have, you know, this is a no judgment zone, but you didn't have to say that.
Honestly, it was for the simple fact of the truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Of understanding the mind frame of how a life is lived from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you never know what somebody goes through. I keep a smile on my face every time you've ever seen me.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Had you
Exactly.
would have had, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And-
like you
and
said, we
know.
don't look like where we come from.
You know,
Right.
we don't. You know, I don't want to be a product of my environment, as
Yeah.
I've been throughout my whole life. You know, and it took recently, up until recently. You know what I'm saying? I don't sit here with, you know, a perfect shoulder. I don't sit here with a perfect clean record. You know, I work every day to strive to be something better, which is what Chance for Life has always done for me.
Yeah.
You know, it was always the steps of what can I do now. You know, I don't look at failure as something being an end to me. To me, I just feel like it was just a lack of succeeding at something. And so
That's
to
a good
me,
way to put it.
That's
so
right.
to me, I strive to find the information to now I can succeed at whatever it is I failed at. And, you know, what I've been working on is being a dad. You know, I failed dramatically at that. So, you know, seeing how my kids are, my older ones especially, you know, I'm trying to redirect my attention away from being self-centered and start serving them, because I had to realize I was always serving me,
Yes.
and it wasn't about me.
Yes.
It was about them all out. And I'm starting to learn that serving other people makes my life have meaning.
Especially your
Yeah.
family. You know, that's
Yeah.
that's commitment. You know, when you're committed to what you do, it's easier to make the sacrifice.
Yeah, without a
And
doubt.
that was the flaw that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Getting into the troubles that we got into, we didn't want to make the commitment that brought us to a point of making a sacrifice. You know, denying ourselves. You know, that deprivation, man, is rough on the mindset.
Without a doubt.
It's rough.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, it's coming up out of Detroit, you know, Southwest Detroit. It
Yeah.
was, you know, it was a gang-ridden city growing up in my area. So it was
What area?
Southwest.
What
So
part?
Lawndale and Verner,
Okay.
Central,
Okay.
Springwell's the heart of that little area
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
So, you know, there were so many different gangs in that environment that it was either you got in or you got out. you got out the neighborhood.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know, I have an older brother. My mom had 2 kids, my older brother Justin and myself. And my older brother got robbed when he was on his way to school one day for his Jordans. And my grandparents took him away from the city. They never did that for me.
Yeah.
I was subject to everything you can remotely think about. We were poor. We didn't have nothing. There were Christmas days with no electricity. We was broke. We was
Yeah.
poor. Like, you know, I mean, they did what they could do as parents, and I commend them for what they did, you know, because they was dealt a hand and they did what they could do. They didn't have the information we got now.
Exactly.
And they didn't have the support systems that we got now and the things that we developed. So, you know, being a product of the environment was something that was big in my life. You know, I took it and took big pride in being a product of my environment, as we all did coming up in the inner cities. We took pride in it, and it was the false love that we searched for, that I did anyways. I searched for false love in the streets, and you know, it took my wife really. It took my wife to really get me to see that there was more to life.
Exactly.
You know?
Okay.
So the pride, you talked about pride in that, and I think a lot of people can identify with being proud of where you come from, whether it's good or bad.
That's it.
But that pride for you led you to prison.
Yeah.
What happened?
So I considered myself, back then, I had considered myself a gangster. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. I felt like I could go anywhere and do anything and would not have no repercussions. I swear to God, that's how I felt. That's how I walked. You couldn't tell me nothing. I didn't care who you was. I would do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And this incident, some friends of mine that I considered really close family called me and was involved with some stuff. I didn't even know. To this day, I can't even tell you really what it was over, to be honest with you. I really, to this day.
But they were your friends.
But they were my friends, and they called. You know, they mama called. Everybody called on me. When something bad happened, everybody called on Mike, because I wasn't afraid. I would defend any piece of my family, because that's just how I was. I was taught, defend what you love. And that was just me. So people took that to advantage, and they abused that with me. And I never cared, because when I say I love you, and I got you.
And it felt good to be called on, didn't it?
Yeah, and it felt good, because it was like, oh yeah, that go bad, I got you.
Right.
Oh, you need that dude whoop, I got you. Oh, you want him shot, I got you. Like, that was just who I was, because I felt like when it stopped, my importance stopped to people. When I went to prison, everything about me was irrelevant. Yeah, I'm still talked about. Yeah, my oldest son went through life. Oh, that's your dad. Oh, my bad. You know.
So, what got you incarcerated? What happened? What not so much what happened, but what?
So I caught a murder case back in 2008. You know, we got into a fight. I grew up boxing, fighting MMA for the most part, all amateur stuff. You know, but I fought a couple guys that day, and I whooped both of them, and I don't know what happened. I don't know what clicked in me. I don't know what turned in me, but it was like an evil side came out. And, you know, after we fought, I pulled the gun, I put it in the kid's mouth and was like, you're done. Like, it's over with, buddy. And then right at that time, like, these kids come run out this house behind them, and I kind of looked at them. I'm like, today's your lucky day, buddy. Because I just had rules. Like, you don't do stuff in front of women and children.
Exactly.
And I'm like, today's your lucky day, man. Get up out of here. Just let's leave this alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, done. I don't know. It was like 15 minutes later. It was like there was just a gang of people. And it was like one car pulled up with a knife. This guy started shooting. This bullet flew past my head. I turned around. There's a little girl standing there with a gun. I grabbed the gun. I put her up against my back, and I started shooting to cover myself at that point. And I ended up killing one of them sitting down on the porch. And I went on a run for a while. And I had to face my time in court. Took what they gave me. And
What'd they give you?
so they gave me an involuntary manslaughter. I pled guilty to an involuntary manslaughter, felony firearm. Was sentenced to 9 years, 2 months for involuntary manslaughter, felony firearm. And I went in. I went in the most troubled person you can ever think about.
Yeah.
I met a few really good brothers really early off. Michael 2X, James Hillil. You know, I met Dwayne Witherspoon, you know, Raheem. You know, I met a lot of really good brothers that I don't know why, how come, or what it was about me, but they took me under their wing quick. And, you know, I met Jessica. I still bucked the system with Tom and Jessica.
Of course you did, because that's what you knew.
That's what
they didn't fit what you know, you know. And that's how it works. That's how it works. He sounds like me, right?
Yeah,
he didn't get arrested, he got rescued.
Yes, that's why I love it. I love it. That's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah.
I have a question for both of you. So, Michael, after you did what you did, what is that like afterwards? What do you feel like after you take a life? What can you explain to people, or were you so in that world that you didn't connect to it, or what does it feel like for you now?
Man, it's hard. There's some nights that's hard for me to sleep. I can sit here and talk all that gangster stuff all I want to.
Yeah.
But when I'm by myself, to this day, I don't even look at myself when I brush my teeth in the mirror, because I'm so disappointed with the way that I've lived my life so far, and the things that I've done, and the life that I've taken, that what can I do to move forward from that? I can only do what I can. But that's always there. As a man, it's like, I can't fix that.
True.
And as a man, it's in our nature to fix things.
Yeah.
I can't fix that. Never can I fix that.
Yeah.
And when I was into the drugs and into the life and into that, I had no heart. I had no soul. I had no nothing, no purpose.
Rhyme or reason was gone.
Yeah. And now that I'm starting to find my purpose, I'm starting to find my reason, I'm starting to find emotions, I'm starting to find this part of me that I never knew existed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get teary-eyed now, and but I'd have never done that before. Teary-eyed.
Especially in front of somebody.
Right? Especially. Nah, like I'd try to pop out the double pistols on the holsters, you know what I'm saying? Just to try to show off that I'm tough or something. But, you know, now to me it's just being vulnerable. I think that's the hardest thing as a man, is to be vulnerable, because we're afraid of that being taken advantage of. And coming home from prison, that's been a big obstacle with me.
Of course.
Is letting that go. You know, it's hard to come out of an isolation and come back into letting people partake in your life again.
Can't be a silo. That's something that we learned during Chance for Life. You can't be a silo, all isolated by yourself, and succeed.
Yeah.
So you learning, just like me, to like you say, be transparent and give yourself so somebody can utilize yourself, and that's where you progress at. You know, but I heard you say, to this day, you don't look at yourself in the mirror because of the regret, because of feeling like you failed yourself, right? But I want to share this with you. I didn't like myself for a long time. So I started in the county jail before sentencing. The woman that I was with at the moment, during that time, she wrote me this nasty letter. You this, you that, you this, you that, you this. I thought you lied, you this, you that, you this. I never would, all of that, right? So I extracted all of the negative things that she said, and I worked on them one by one, one by one, one by one. And I became happy with who I am. And that's what you have to recognize, because you have a insurmountable amount of achievements. That's who you are. What you did brought you to where you are.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
So look at yourself in the mirror and see yourself as an achiever, and you can drop him. You can drop him.
Because that's
because your wife did.
Yeah.
She dropped him. She don't see him.
Right.
She definitely two-pieced him.
Yeah, and you gotta get on her team.
Yeah, and
you know,
that's the biggest thing, is that now is rebuilding that relationship. You know, because I did so much damage to that relationship that now that's the only relationship that matters to me right now, and that's the hardest one to.
Man, you said a lot.
To make, to keep alive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like every move I make, I feel like it's wrong, or I'm not doing it the right way, and but then I go back to my prison modes and my isolations, and you know, but then I gotta remember my training, and it's hard. It's hard out here for us, you know. So
how do you tap back into Chance for Life when those hard moments come around?
Oh, I pick up my phone fast. I'll call Jessica 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So Jessica, you know, I can't say nothing but great things about Chance for Life. I can't say nothing but great things about Tom and Jessica. But Jessica is my mom. Like, she has been there. That is mama hen. That is my heart outside of my mama. Like, when my mom was murdered back in 2010, I was just in Chance for Life.
Oh.
Like, I was just getting in Chance for Life, and I was bucking heads with Jessica, and, you know, because I was still the young punk. I was fresh in prison. I was only 2 years in, you know.
Wow, yeah.
I was real fresh. I was still running the yard for the, you know, in the gangs, and they didn't want to let me go because I was STG'd. They didn't want to let me go to my mom's funeral. They didn't want to do this. They didn't want to do that.
What's STG mean?
Security threat group.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jessica, Tom, I don't know why they did it, but Jessica had called and made a few requests, and before I knew it, I was being told I was going to my mom's funeral.
Yeah.
And from that moment forward, I committed to Chance for Life. And I started teaching programs. I started taking it serious. I started doing this and doing that. And before I left prison, I probably taught over 700 programs.
Wow.
And you know, I got
busy, man.
Yeah, I got my GED. I graduated college 3 different times. You know, I took advantage of what was in front of me. I wanted more and I wanted better, and Chance for Life offered that to me in prison.
And showed you how to use it.
And showed me how to use it.
Because that's what I was doing. Like I was saying, I had most of the things that you mentioned, but I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with it. I'm like, okay, I did this, I did that. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And they came along and put the structure there. You know what I'm saying? Everything became categorized, and I had a way of itemizing things, of putting things in a pecking order, and that's what it sounds like you're saying. And that is what Chance for Life does for a lot of guys, and they don't realize it. Because, okay, it's critical thinking, it's conflict resolution, it's a mediation center, but guess what? Every time you open your mouth, you use all of that stuff.
Every bit of it.
But we didn't know that.
No.
That's why we was bucking all the time. That's why.
Yeah. It took a lot. You know, I like I said, I couldn't be more grateful. You know, every time that I got to a weak point in my life, I've been home 6 years, and I think I've probably called Tom and Jessica 4 or 5 times. And I'm talking 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Jessica, I'm crying. Jessica, this is what's going on. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. I need help.
Why is that so important to have that security? People think sometimes that just because you're released, you're free and that's it. But transitioning back into a world that you have not been into isn't equal to freedom, because you don't always feel it. Like,
Exactly.
am I right or wrong?
You're
Talk about
totally
that.
right.
You know?
Totally right.
You're totally right, because like you said, you know, physically you're free, but mentally you have to release yourself into the freedom, and that's that. I'm speaking for myself, but I think it's the same way for everybody, because there's a mentality that comes with being in that that society. You know, there's a subculture there where you know that if you're in the streets, you live this kind of way, but in prison, you live almost the same, but there's some rules that you don't violate.
Right.
You know, and then you get out here and you have this freedom to step outside of those boundaries, because it's not illegal anymore, or should I say a violation. You know, for example, the day I came home, we went to Red Lobster, and we were in line waiting to be seated, right? So I'm with my aunt and my uncle. And my aunt and my uncle, the host came to take us to our seats. My aunt and my uncle followed them. I waited for my turn. But I was with them.
But that didn't even register to you.
No, because in prison, even though you're with your friends and your groups or cliques or whatever it is, you're an individual when you're in that line. You can't go when they go, you know. So we're in a line, say, to eat, or we're in line to, I don't know if you were in when you could go to the store for yourself.
No,
but you were,
just when
we had lines to go to the store for yourself and all of that stuff. So when this guy went to the window, I couldn't sit there and talk with him while he got his things and paid for his stuff. I had to wait my turn. So when they took off, I stood there and I was like, nobody noticed it but me. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to go too, you know? So small things like that, remind you that mentally you have to release yourself from the incarceration that you're already free from physically.
You feel like that too?
100%. He couldn't have said it no better. I mean, my biggest thing was relationships. It was hard to me to commit to certain relationships because I was so isolated from prison that it was me, and I didn't care about how anybody else felt, how my actions made anybody else feel, because the whole time I was in prison, I had to worry about nothing but me. Every day I woke up, I had to make sure I made it through that day. I didn't get stabbed or beat up or robbed.
Make it back to the cell.
And I got to make it back to the cell, and being involved with the gangs, it's that much more. That's where I'm building at, is becoming more of a person that you can trust to be there for you and be honest with you and not be more self-centered. Like that's where I'm at. Like that's where I'm literally working, talking with Jessica right now. Like, she literally just emailed me today, like, hey, you got to do this and this and this and this. Like, I'm literally actively back in my training, doing what I have to do because of the step back I had in my life. Like I said, I stand here, I'm far from perfect. You know what I'm saying? I still got a lot of growing to do.
But I'll tell you, Mike, don't count that against yourself.
Right.
Because you're going to always do that.
Yeah.
It's just somebody else that helps you to be accountable. I was supposed to take care of something. I got this email to take care of it on the 8th or the 18th. I think it was. What was it? 28th. It was on the 28th. I know exactly. It was the 28th. This is what you got to do. You got to text me and let me know I got an email. It shouldn't be like that. But there are so many things to keep up with that we don't.
But it's okay to ask somebody to help you with
That's
those
my
things.
point.
Yeah.
You call me and say, hey, when you send an email, can you text me? Yeah, I got you. No problem.
Yeah. So it's going to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to be there, and it's not a bad thing, because that's why the execs have assistants. You see what
But I'm not assistant. Just
Yeah,
so you-
that's right. And I'm not an exec either. but they pay somebody to do what we have friends for,
Right, we got friends for those things.
Yeah.
I try to keep my wife involved a lot because of my accident. Like, my memory's bad.
Tell everybody about your accident. briefly.
It's fine. Like, my accident, I was just on the freeway. I was on my way home October 20th, one year, 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I just called home, checked in, told her I was about 2 hours away from home. She's like, all right, be careful, make sure you, be safe. It's deer season, no, I'm bundled up, I'm good, let it go. It wasn't 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, I hit a deer 70 miles an hour on the freeway.
Yeah.
On a crotch rocket, cut the deer in half, and I remember I pulled over, I got off the bike, and next thing I remember, I was waking up in the back of the paramedics, and they was like, hey, you went away for a little bit. Are you back with us now? Like, are you here, buddy? I'm like,
That's when I first met you.
yeah.
Because he came to the Toastmasters meeting, like, how many weeks after?
It was just a few weeks after that. I literally just had the wreck not long after. Yeah, it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks after.
So catch us up. What are you doing today?
So today I'm a journeyman carpenter in a union. I work full-time Monday through Friday. I own a concrete business that I run 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I'm just working on my craft. I'm trying to working with a lot of investors right now. I'm trying to develop my company more into a bigger LLC.
So I'm gonna help. What's the name of your business?
Metro MGH Construction. We service all the way around Michigan. We go out of state if the customers want us. Concrete, decks, but
Carpentry.
we got carpentry, but we touch all aspects though. I've got crews that can do full renovations. I've got just about anything.
Give me your business card. People ask me for help.
When you talk about earning trust, how do you want people to see you, and how do you plan to continue to do that? Because you are doing it, but continuing to do it.
I mean, really, it's about just being real to me. Because I feel like if I'm real to me, then everything about me is real. So the trust should come, you know. I know some relationships it's gonna be a little harder to rebuild that because I had to change me, and people need to see me for me now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But until that happens, I can't change that for nobody else. I can only change me on a day-to-day and hope that one day they see that change. But